Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are immersing ourselves in the brilliant, really bizarre landscape crafted by Karen Russell.
Yeah, it's quite a world she pulls.
We're going to a place where, theme parks are run by grieving families, adolescents are hunting ghosts with some pretty strange gear.
And girls raised by wolves are learning ballroom dancing.
Exactly. So the big question in these sources seems to be, how far do you have to sort of take apart your own identity just to survive when you're stuck in these traumatic, isolated settings?
That really is the core of it. We're deep diving into the short story collection, St. Lucy's Home for Girls Raised by Wolves. And we're looking specifically at how Russell uses these incredibly strange kind of cut-off environments
Right?
to explore themes like liminality, that feeling of being stuck between identities, and also radical adaptation and just the bizarre, often painful ways family loyalty plays out.
And our sources, they give us access to these hyper-specific worlds. You've got the decaying glamour of a gator wrestling park, a camp for kids dreaming about historical disasters, an island where fitting in means, well, committing crimes.
Pretty intense stuff.
Yeah. So we're not just doing plot summary here, we're really looking for the insights. Let's maybe unpack this by starting where grief meets the grotesque.
Yeah.
Down in the Everglades.
Okay, so we start with the Big Tree family and their theme park, Swamplandia.
Right.
The setting itself is just pure liminal zone. I mean, the swamp's dying, the business is failing.
And the family's kind of paralyzed, right, after the mother's death.
Exactly, they're stuck.
What jumps out at me immediately is Ava, the narrator. Her, intense competence seems to be her main survival tool.
Definitely.
She's literally waist-deep in muck, plunging toilets, chopping up stinky bait for the gators.
Yeah, it's grim work.
And she's managing this grim reality while her dad, the chief, is reminding her it's all a performance for the tourists. They don't pay to watch us struggle.
Hiding the effort.
It feels like this constant, visible effort just to hold things together.
And that effort, it's contrasted so brilliantly with her older sister, Ozzy.
Ah, yes, Ozzy.
While Ava is totally grounded in the physical decay, the swamp, Ozzy just checks out completely.
How so?
She's dating a ghost.
A ghost. Right. Luscious.
Yeah, luscious. A literal non-physical being. And Ava notes this possession is stealthy and pervasive, like sickness or swallowed water.
Wow.
It's this really profound commentary on two totally different ways of escaping grief, isn't it?
Yeah.
One is through just relentless competence doing the dirty work.
And the other is just complete psychic surrender, escaping into the unreal.
Precisely.
And that pattern, escaping into the bizarre, it continues in Gannon's boat graveyard, doesn't it?
It does. Here you've got two brothers, Timothy and Wallow.
Okay.
And they're searching for the spirit of their sister, Olivia Lark, who vanished.
And the tools they use for this search, kind of absurd.
Totally absurd. They use these diabolical goggles.
Which are pink, like for little girls.
Exactly. Pink, found in a sunken ship called La Calavera.
Yeah.
But when they put them on, bam.
What happens?
They see the whole ocean floor is just teeming with aquatic ghosts, phantom crabs, stingrays.
Ghost fish swimming through them.
Apparently so. And the choice of those pink goggles, it's fascinating, right? It kind of undercuts the whole seriousness of their quest. It almost frames their grief as this, childish, desperate search.
It's really poignant. And after all that spooky searching, their big destination is the glowworm grotto.
Yeah, sounds magical.
But then you find out the glow is just worm shit.
Ugh, right. Russell keeps doing that, doesn't he? Pulling the rug out from under the magic.
Yeah, reminding you that even the most, beautiful escapes are maybe rooted in something kind of repulsive or just mundane, real.
So, moving from those, let's say, physical ghosts of the swamp and sea, we get to a purely psychological kind of haunting.
Okay, where are we now?
We're at ZZ's sleepaway camp for disordered dreamers.
Right. Cabin 4, miscellaneous. Love that detail.
And here Russell cooks up this really unique condition, postmonitions.
This idea is just incredible. We meet Elijah and Ogilvy, and they don't see the future.
No, they dream the past.
They're plagued by these massive historical tragedies. Mount Vesuvius, the bubonic plague, the Hindenburg disaster.
Imagine that, reliving global trauma every single night.
What does that even do to you when your biggest pain is something, historically is just bound to happen?
Well, it creates this intense, isolating kind of chronic stress, which The camp, of course, tries to categorize.
Naturally.
There's a hierarchy based on the length and volume of your sleep-yodeled terror.
Sleep-yodeled terror. Wow.
But what's really key here is how this ongoing internal terror gets interrupted for a moment.
How?
The director's wife, who apparently has her own dream contagion like phantom dogs, she actually murders the camp's sheep, Heimdall and Merino.
She kills the sheep. For real.
For real. Tangible, present-day violence.
And how do the campers react, the ones reliving Pompeii every night?
The sources say they treat it as a treat, like Christmas.
That's insane. But I kind of get it.
Yeah, it's this bizarre insight, right? They're so overwhelmed by these huge, distant terrors that a fresh, visible tragedy becomes almost a unifying, maybe even welcome distraction.
Something real they can all focus on together.
Exactly. But even that unity, it doesn't last. Oakley, one of the boys, he eventually gets better, which, tragically, just means he stops remembering the dreams.
Oh, no. So he leaves Elijah behind.
Yeah, leaves Elijah alone again with his occipital sorrow. That's the phrase used. The loss of that shared trauma becomes this, like, second abandonment.
Suggesting that sometimes connection is only possible through shared suffering.
It seems that way in this world, yeah. Which ties directly into the theme of forced isolation and identity erasure in the title story, St. Lucy's Home for Girls Raised by Wolves.
Okay, so the wolf girls, this isn't just adapting, it feels like. Well, violent assimilation.
It absolutely is. You see these sisters going through these very distinct stages of civilization. Yeah, they have to erase everything they knew. They struggle with human language. They have their pack scent forcibly removed with ammonia.
Oof, ammonia.
And they have to learn to walk on two legs. And the penalty for failing. You get shunned by both humans and wolves, utterly alone.
And Claudette, the narrator, she totally gets this. She becomes the quote-unquote good girl.
Right. She practices the Sausalito two-step in secret. She's desperate to get to stage 3 thinking.
That dance, the Sausalito two-step, it's more than just a dance, isn't it? It feels like a physical symbol of her psychological break from her wolf self.
I think so, yeah. While Claudette is forcing this erasure on herself, the youngest sister, Mirabella, she just resists. She keeps loping around on all fours, holding onto a secret tight to the ground. She won't let go.
And this tension peaks at the debutante ball.
The big test. Mirabella, acting purely on her wolf instinct, tries to save Claudette from what she perceives as unseen cougars.
Like dangers at the ball.
Yeah, from her perspective.
And Claudette,
Right.
what does she do?
To secure her own acceptance, to basically complete her assimilation into the human world, she publicly rejects Mirabella.
Rejects the sister who's trying to protect her in her own way.
It's the final, agonizing sacrifice. Loyalty traded for survival.
That tension, loyalty versus belonging, it shifts into maybe a darker context in the Stargazer's log of summertime crime.
Yeah, here we meet Ollie, and he is just desperate to be accepted by these two other kids, Raffi and Marta.
This story feels like it's all about self-betrayal, almost as the price of coolness.
That's a good way to put it. His first big act is throwing his own beloved astronomy tool, his planisphere.
Into the ocean. Why?
Because Raffi makes fun of it. So the real crime there isn't just, littering. It's betraying his own passion, his identity, just to try and fit in.
And their shared activities, they're called comical and ironical crimes.
Yeah, they start small, maybe seem funny at first, but they escalate pretty quickly into outright cruelty.
Right. The climax involves abusing Petey.
Petey, the albino man, covered in Christmas lights and tinfoil, who they horribly call the human disco ball.
That's just awful. What do they do?
They try to use his light to disorient baby sea turtle hatchlings, to lure them away from the ocean, which is also, a federal offense.
So it's cruel on multiple levels. What's going on inside Ollie during this?
That's crucial. He recognizes it. He notes that the joke keeps hatching and waddling forward, growing longer and less funny.
He sees it souring.
Yeah. He realizes his path to belonging with these kids means participating in harming the most vulnerable beings around him, both human and animal. The belonging he wants is based on shared immorality.
Wow. So connecting that kind of transactional cruelty to maybe a different kind of bond, let's look at Sawtooth and Augie.
Okay. Sawtooth is an amputee living in this retirement community out to sea.
Right.
And Augie is his court-mandated buddy.
A court-mandated friend. That sounds potentially problematic.
It is. Their bond is built entirely on this mutual manipulative need. Sawtooth is desperate for her company.
And Augie?
Augie's predatory. She's stealing his Demerol, his pain medication.
Oh, so she's exploiting him.
Absolutely. But there's this ritual they share that defines their whole dynamic.
What's that?
Augie, licks Sawtooth's stump.
She licks his amputated leg.
Why?
Why?
It triggers the sensation of his ghost leg, the
Mhm.
phantom limb.
Okay.
And Sawtooth knows she's stealing his drugs. He absolutely knows. But he accepts it, lets it happen, because that phantom pain she causes becomes meaningful to him.
Meaningful how?
It reminds him she's there. He sacrifices his health, endures the theft, just for that phantom feeling of connection her presence brings.
That's incredibly twisted. So he's paying for company with his medication and his phantom pain.
Essentially, yes. And then, when he tries to shift the dynamic, tries to make it something more than this cruel transaction.
What does he do?
He confesses, "I love you," tries to make it real, maybe stop her from leaving.
And Augie's response?
Utterly pitiless. Just cold cruelty, she says.
Oh,
How could you?
Cuts him down.
Yeah. It just hammers home the theme, right? That in this world built on isolation and these kind of transactional needs, genuine uncompensated emotion, that's seen as the ultimate violation. It doesn't compute.
Okay, so if we try to tie all these threads together, these incredibly strange worlds, from Swamplandia to the island campgrounds, what's the common element?
I think the characters are all unified by this desperate search for either radical escape or radical containment.
Escape or containment? Can you unpack that?
Well, they're desperately trying to find some kind of structure, any structure,
Yeah.
that can hold the terrifying messiness of their lives.
Okay, so Ava finds containment in just working constantly.
Right. Ozzy escaped through her ghost lover. The wolf girls try to contain their wildness through forced language and, learning the Sausalito two-step.
Uh-huh.
And Big Red, in the City of Shells, she literally wishes she could become a seamless wedge of stone, impregnable, like an iron nautilus shell.
They're all looking for an impossible shell, a way to be safe or separate.
Exactly. But the paradox Russell keeps showing us again and again is that even the moments of profound connection often just end up confirming how alone each person really is.
How so?
Think about the closest bonds we saw, Elijah and Ugly,
Right, until Ugly forgets the dreams.
Ava and Ozzy,
Separated by grief and, well, a ghost.
Sawtooth and Augie.
Defined by theft and manipulation.
Yeah. Whether it's selective memory loss or ghost possession or stealing pain meds, the intimacy itself is just a very specific, often painful confirmation of their fundamental isolation.
It's really an incredible body of work, using the utterly absurd pink goggles, dream camps, wolf girls' learning manners to show this agonizing process of trying to create an identity when the world gives you absolutely no stable ground to stand on.
It really is. So maybe the provocative thought we can leave you with is this. Think about the human need we have to categorize things, to label experiences.
Like the camp's dream hierarchy, or the wolf girls' stages, or even Ollie's star charts.
Right. All these systems we create. Russell seems to suggest they ultimately fail. They can't contain or really explain the terrifying, messy reality of radical self-discovery or the world's sort of inexplicable cruelty.
So the question for you, the listener, is maybe. If your most reliable connections were based on shared trauma that could vanish, or if your only path to belonging involved committing a crime you knew was wrong, what parts of your own identity would you be willing to sacrifice?
Yeah. What gets thrown overboard?